Hey there, welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to hard rock, heavy metal, and progressive rock, and other forms of rock music. So today it's Monday night, it's Monday night look back at a classic rock album. And the one that I have on schedule for today is part B of my ongoing progressive rock album month, which starts in April and goes to the end of April, so there'll be 4 albums. And today's album comes from my number 2 band, yes, Tormato. Great album. I love this album. This was I think it was the 4th album I got. I got Drama first, then I went back and got Fragile, Close to the Edge, and then I got this one. Now, what can I tell you? First of all, I'll give you the vitals on this album. It was released September 22nd, 1978 at Adversions Studio in London, England. The length was about 40 minutes, almost 41 minutes long, Atlantic, and they produced the album because Eddie Oxford was kind of out of there while they were producing it. Eddie Offord, sorry. Featured on this album, John Anderson, vocals and guitar, Steve Howell, guitars and vocals, Chris Squire, bass and vocals, Rick Wakeman, keyboards and synthesizers, and I got a frog in my throat there. And for drums and percussion was Alan White. Okay, so anyways, about a little history about this album for me. The first album I got was Drama. I got that in 1980, almost upon its release. It was my first experience with Yes, and it didn't fly very well. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great, so I didn't. But then my friend said, yeah, they just had switched a couple members of the group, so you might want to go back and listen to some of the other stuff. So we talked it over and we decided that the best album out there, and at that time it was their seminal album, was Fragile. So we got that, and I love that album. Just a fantastic album. I'm going to say that I was about 15 when I got that album, and it became my favorite Yes album. And then Close to the Edge was a little bit beyond me at that point in time. At that age, I got it, so it kind of got played once in a while, but really wasn't listening to it too much. Not like I did now, which is my favorite album. But so I wanted something else that was more easier access for me, and so I took this album, Tormato. I love this album. It's one of my 5 favorite Yes albums. I know it's taken a bit of heat. It's kind of developing into a bit of a theme this month. Signals was a kind of a transitionary album for Rush. Took some heat there, and then Yes, this was kind of lots of in-house fighting with amongst the members and stuff like that, and some of them would leave right after this album. So it was kind of a bit of a transitionary album as well. Anyways, I initially liked certain songs on the album, and others I didn't really listen too much. So for me, initially it was Future Times and Rejoice, and Don't Kill the Whale, Release, and Circus of Heaven. Those were the songs that I liked the most when I first heard the album. Over time, not that they're bad, I still listen to them, but other songs have come on, such as Arriving UFO and Onward Through On the Silent Wings of Freedom, which are probably my 2 favorite tracks on the album. Arriving UFO, I really like the different sounding kind of guitar on it. On the Silent Wings of Freedom has an amazing keyboard solo. Just Rick Wakeman at his best here. So, like I said, early on I liked Future Times, Rejoice, because I tend to be a vocal drummer, but I also like vocalists. That tends to be the 2 areas I go for, drumming, vocals. Guitar next, and then keyboards last, and bass as well. Anyways, I really liked Future Times and Rejoice because of the vocal harmonies on those two songs. Don't Kill the Whale, of course, was their single release. I like that quite a bit. I still like it. It's a good song. Mad Rydell, I could give or take it. It's not as good as Rush's version, but it's pretty good. And then then Release was the big song that I got into immediately. Started listening to it a lot, and it kind of burned it out a bit, and then I moved on to Arriving UFO, and then on to Silent Wings of Freedom. Now, Circus of Heaven, I know that some people think this is a bit of a gimpy song. Perhaps it is. I'm not really going to argue with them about it. I personally like it quite a bit. It's one of my favorite songs to sing when I'm in the shower song, I call it. Has been that way almost since the first time I heard it, and still in my repertoire. And then the only other song on the album, Onward, I've had periods in time where I've liked this song quite a bit, and other periods of time where I just don't acknowledge it too much. But on the whole, this is a pretty solid album. Lots of really good guitar. The keyboards, I think, are maybe the highlight of this album. And it's got 8 songs on it, which is quite a few for Yes. I don't think any of the albums that came before this had more than... I'm trying to think, but I think that the last album to have more than 6... because the Yes album had 6 on it, but I think the album was the 2 albums prior to that, what I would call the non-progressive rock albums. This was the first one to have more than 6 from about the Yes album through to this, which is the last one with the full group before they changed to Drama. And then the Drama actually became one of my favorite albums after that too. So the 4 albums I named, Fragile, Close to the Edge, Drama, and Tormato, are all among my top 5. And the other album that is in there that I didn't mention was the Yes album. So those are my top 5 Yes albums. But this album is really good. I really like it a lot. And, like I've heard, a lot of people think that it's a problematic album, that it really doesn't have a lot of things on it. And that might be true, but it had an impact on me, and that's pretty much all I can say about it. But then, there are people that really put Relayer right near the top, and it's grown on me over the years, no doubt about it, but I still don't think it belongs in the top 5 for me. So there you have it. Yes is Tormato, released in 1978, and an album I quite dig. So that's part B of my 4-parter. Part C will be next week, and we will be moving on to my next favorite band, which is Genesis. And I have another album that's quite controversial, well liked by some, not so much by others. So we'll get into that when we get to that next week. So you have a good night. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Prog Monster out.